Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button. Well, we can't thank you all enough for the growth in the past couple of weeks. It's been amazing. And don't forget, you can win that Milt Stiegel signed jersey. Sheesh. If you subscribe to YouTube, if you already subscribed, you're already in. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit. And don't forget, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting episode. We can't talk, and it's
No.
Labor Day. We've been having a couple of these because it's Labor Day. Oh, it's any which way. It's invisible. Let's get right into it. Bombers, Roughriders. What boxes need to be checked for the Bombers to win? You can go first.
Oh, good old Labor Day classic. Doesn't matter what the records of these teams are or how good or bad they are, especially on the Saskatchewan side, right? They could be terrible. They could be 0-11 right now, and they'd still have a chance at winning this game. So
Absolutely.
Bombers have won the last two, but they've always been close. And even last year was close. Late Leggio field goal to win that game. So Bombers also 4 in a row they've won. So they haven't lost a Mosaic since 2019. So, and Claros has never lost to Saskatchewan as a Bomber quarterback. So a lot of things going into this game. What do they need to win? To win? Protect Claros. Right off the bat, Claros needs time. Claros needs to be protected and find his open receivers and give it enough time because that Saskatchewan D line's pretty good. They'll come at him and they'll bring pressure, and for the most part, the D has had their ups and downs, but they've had some good games. So if you can protect Claros, let him find his receivers, let Oliveira find some holes. It'll be a good outing for them.
Yeah, you talk about O-line. I'm going to talk about D-line. They have to get their game going, especially at stopping Morrow. Morrow hasn't been having the best season, but I still consider him one of the best backs in the league. And I think they will lean on him, especially against Winnipeg. So I think Jake Thomas and Ricky Walker have to have a huge game in the middle and stuff that run. Because, we've seen that the Bombers can be susceptible to the run.
Yeah.
And when that happens and the team gets going, it could be a problem for the Bombers. So they really need to focus on Jamal Moreau, I think, so the Roughriders can't get into any kind of rhythm on the offensive side of the ball. And like last game, they were 3 for 4 in the red zone. They got to score when they're in the red zone. Saskatchewan, man, I can't talk. That Saskatchewan's hard to say. Roughriders, it's Labor Day. We're having fun. Labor Day week.
Wow.
Yeah, they got to score the points when they're in the red zone.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan gives up a lot of points. Sure, they beat BC, but the Red Blacks beat the Bombers. How much weight are we putting into that? So, when they're in the red zone, they have to score touchdowns against the Roughriders.
Plus, Montreal smoked Saskatchewan, 3 weeks ago? And Winnipeg smoked Montreal. So you would think, well, whatever, it's football. You play the game on the field and you never know what's going to happen out there, right?
Exactly.
We've talked about the coverage team for the Bombers. It hasn't been the greatest at times. They need to contain Mario Alford. Last week, they're putting Montreal in rough field position. Like Montreal starting inside their 20 a lot in that game. They need to do the same as Saskatchewan and make them move the whole length of the field to score. If they can do that, the D is probably going to win that battle. So hopefully they can contain Mario Alford. I know they're not going to be able to do it all the time, but if they can stop him quickly, they got a great chance.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the D line, and they have to get into Dola Gala's face. This guy's young. He's undefeated as a starter.
Yep.
1-0. So they got to put a wreck to that. They got to, and we've looked at the stats the past couple of games. The Jeffs have not been really on the stat sheet in regards to getting to the QB, getting home. So I think they just got to wreck it up and cause chaos for Dola Gala. Just don't give him any opportunities to settle his feet. And I think if they do that, I think they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, that's one of the points I had too, was rattle Dolgala early and often, and BC had a hard time getting to him, and he had time, and he was finding those open receivers downfield. It's funny that you say that with Jefferson and Jeffco. They no sacks last game. They caused havoc in different ways, and Jeffco with the fumble recovery, Jefferson with a couple knockdowns and stuff like that. But yeah, not on this the sack sheet. So they got to get after this guy. They got to rattle him and throw him off his game. And if you can get a decent enough lead, you force them to throw a little more, which leaves Jamal Morrow out of this game, or Joe Morrow out of this game, and then just makes them one-dimensional, So They got to be able to handle that crowd noise as well, because that crowd's going to be crazy. And that O-line is going to need to step up and, like we say, protect Collaros, but they're also going to have to limit any penalties, any mistakes that they make, because they can't hear stuff. So it's going to be a crazy atmosphere in there.
I think it was Pat Neufeld who was on CJOB talking today about not even being able to hear Kolinkowski beside him in Mosaic Field. And that's insane. So that's a great point. They do got, and those penalties, these are the top two teams, I think, in regards to being penalized the least in the league. So that'll definitely make a difference in these games.
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness. It should be a good one.
Any other boxes that need to be checked for the Bombers?
No, I think I'm good on those. I mean, besides, again, Oliveira, keep pounding him and keep getting him to pound that D line, wear that D line and those linebackers, which opens up more later in the game. But other than that, I think they just got to stick to their game plan. And, Collaros, we saw him last week, made a couple of mistakes, but that offense after that was humming. If they can do that again, they'll have a very good game here. But again, you never know what happens in Saskatchewan on Labor Day.
Yeah, that's another point I have. They cannot be giving up turnovers.
Yeah.
Because again, with that crowd noise, that gives the Roughriders so much energy, and they are amped, and any kind of momentum they get, any kind of emotional shift that they get in this game can change the game in a bad way for the Bombers. So they can't give those pick sixes. No, that could be a killer.
Imagine how crazy the Bombers were at home last week when they gave out those pick sixes. So the crowd was quiet, right? You imagine giving up a pick six on the first play of the game in this one, that crowd would be buzzing for the rest of the game, and they would make it hard on the Bombers all the way through. How crazy it would be. Yeah, I agree. Got to limit those mistakes. Collaros has just got to take what they give him, and if it's not there, throw it away.
I can't wait. It's been a while since it's been like 2 decades since we've been to Saskatchewan for Labor Day Classic, and man, we still have memories that'll last a lifetime.
Yeah, Rocky Butler.
Oh, and some of those memories are gone. Why do you always bring up the bad memories? I don't get this dude. Every time we talk about Labor Day, he brings up the worst memory available. Get out of here.
It's the only thing I remember of the game is just Rocky Butler came in, fourth stringer. We were supposed to kick their ass, and then he won. The next time we went, the Bombers ended up winning. I probably don't even know who the starting quarterbacks were in that game.
Oh my goodness. I just had a sip there because I don't want to hear it. Who do you see having a big game for the Bombers, and why? I'm going to take Dalton Schoen in this one. Saskatchewan does give a lot of intermediate passes, the 8-7 yarders. So I can see him finding those soft spots in the zone and getting a lot of those yak yards. So I see Dalton Schoen. I know that's an easy one to take because he's so good, but I'll take Schoen in this game. But he comes up huge in big games. So I'm going to take Schoen.
All right, I'm going to go with the O-line of the Bombers, all 5 of those guys, and even when they bring in the heavy set. That's where I think this game will be won or lost for the Bombers on their side of it. If they can get enough time protection that we've talked about already, Collaros will have time to pick out his guys. But if that O-line is getting beat up, it's going to be rough. And then, like we said, with that crowd noise, that crowd is going to be all over it. So the focus on this position, the O-line, is going to be huge. And that Saskatchewan D-line is pretty good. They got some good players. So hopefully that O-line can settle things down and make some blocks and open up holes and give Collaros time.
Yeah, and give Brady Oliveira some space to smash those riders. And I also
hopefully get to 1,000 in this game, right? He's close.
Yeah, I know.
70 yards away, I think, right?
He's at 906.
906, okay.
So 94.
94.
Look at that.
He's getting it.
That's some West Kildonan Collegiate Institute math for you. That was quick.
That was good.
I know. I think Willie Jefferson also will have a good game. Not just because he's such a good player, but he loves the big games. He loves the big crowds. He played in Saskatchewan. He's going to be jacked up for this one. I think he'll be not just on the stat sheet. He'll be just all over the TV screen when we watch.
Yeah, and plus you're going up against a rookie quarterback, basically, right? Like you said, he's one start, so it's easy to rattle those guys if you can get at him. So yeah, I think Willie loves these games for sure.
Yeah, he's good in that one start though. Jeez.
Yeah, he was. But he wasn't good when he came off the bench, but he was really good last week. First half last week or 2 weeks ago.
When you get to prepare and
first half though, right? Second half, not so much. BC kind of started to figure stuff out, but Saskatchewan feasted on the long ball against BC. Yeah. So those receivers were really good for Saskatchewan and have been good too.
Yeah.
Those some great catches.
If they let that long ball go, that might be huge. Maybe Brendan Alexander might have a huge game. Oh my goodness.
Well, even in that game against BC, the receivers made some great catches. Like he almost threw it up for anybody on some of those plays, but the
Yeah.
Saskatchewan receivers came down with the ball every
That
time.
Emulous
So,
ball. Well,
yeah.
that Emulous catch.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That should have been an interception. So
wow. He played defense and then turned back into offense.
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Which riders do you see the Bombers having to keep their eyes on?
I'll say we were just talking about them. The trio of wide receivers with Bain, Jones, and Emulous they're all around the same number of yards and everything like that. And they've all had breakout games almost kind of thing. Emulous, didn't he have the 3 touchdowns against the Bombers, 2 or 3 when they played the first time?
Now the Canadian kid that got the big game?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So again, you have to watch these guys. They made some great plays. They bailed Dogala out quite a bit in that game. So those DBs for the Bombers, along with the D line, if the D line can get pressure, it helps the DBs. But if not, those DBs have to be prepared. And we've seen Houston 7 interceptions, but he gets beat sometimes deep. So just gonna have to be careful there.
Yeah, when you're on an island, you will be beat deep.
Oh yeah,
I get that. I agree. The 3 receivers that they have, all 3 of them are in the top 10 in receiving yards in the CFL. That's crazy. And also Anthony Lanier on their defensive line. I think he just put up 3 against Ottawa. And that guy, I know it's Ottawa, but still, he can be a force. So they got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Along with Larry Dean, the linebacker core, man. So
veteran Larry Dean.
He's another guy that will probably step it up in games like these, like Jefferson does, right? The Larry Dean's going to do the same thing.
Okay. So what do the Riders have to do to win this game? Like, I don't know.
D-line
about it early.
That D-line needs to beat the old Bomber O-line, and cause Claros to make some mistakes or miscues or get after that, shut down the Oliveira run game. Obviously the defense for the Riders is going to have to be really good in this game because we've seen this Bomber offense just take off sometimes, right? So if that D can keep this in check, it gives the Saskatchewan offense opportunities basically to make the Bombers pay.
Yeah, getting to Caleros is the key to winning the game. Yeah. Look at what BC did.
Yeah.
That's how you stop the Bombers.
Exactly.
Like Oliveira can run all day long, but if they don't get the passing game going, they're not going to get the points going.
No.
So, and Saskatchewan can do that. They've been playing some decent games lately, and they can get to the quarterback that we just talked about. So, yeah, they can get to Caleros.
Especially at home with that crowd noise, this is a perfect opportunity for Saskatchewan to do that.
Yeah.
But now they just got to take advantage of it. Also, limit mistakes, turnovers, penalties. We saw Montreal implode last week, and take all these penalties. Saskatchewan's got to do the same. You can't give Bombers free field position or free yards and not expect them to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and the pressure they have to get on Caleros can't be with them bringing the blitz all the time.
No.
Because Caleros will pick you apart.
Yeah.
You might get him once or twice, but he's going to burn you and it's not going to be worth it. So they have to bring just 4 and they have to get pressure on them.
It'd be interesting because that Bomber O-line is kind of turning around and have been playing well lately. So this would be a good test.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Critical questions going into week 13 for each CFL team. Let's start. I got the West. Let's start with the BC Lions. Can BC get the running game going? It's been an issue for the past few weeks, and other teams are benefiting from it. Without the running threat of Mizell and even Adams, the Lions' offense is kind of pedestrian.
Yeah.
And I understand they're missing Dominic Rhymes, who's a great receiver, top 5 in the league for sure. But if they don't have a running game, they're not a problem.
Yeah, but you still got Keon Hatcher and Lucky Whitehead, right? You still got some good receivers there. And Keon Hatcher has had a very good season so far.
But they lost the last 2 games and they can't run the ball.
I totally agree on that. You watched James Butler run all over them last week, who they let go to, and have Mizell. But that BC offense has kind of gotten a little bit stagnant. Even the game against Saskatchewan where they came back, it was just they were chucking balls up kind of thing, right? So it was a late game surge, but yeah, if your linebackers
don't have to worry about that running game, that just puts more that stacks it up against your passing game. So they need to find it.
Yeah. Speaking of their opponent, right? Or not speaking of their opponent, I'll move to their opponent. Montreal Alouettes. Does Fajardo last the whole game? or does he get benched at some point? Based on last week, I think his leash. Well, you can cut him some slack from last week because he just came back from injury, maybe some rust or whatever, right? But I think his leash this week will probably be a little bit shorter. And if he struggles in the first half or the first 2 quarters, I could see him definitely get benched for Caleb Evans at some point. So BC has already beaten Montreal. Montreal is trying to prove that they kind of belong in that upper echelon, which they probably don't even if they beat BC. But this is a big game for them, and Fajardo's got to come out on fire.
It's great. We kind of had the same question 2 weeks in a row. Will Fajardo finish the game? Mine was concerned because of injury. Yeah. Yours was concerned because of performance.
Yeah.
Let's move to the Edmonton Elks. Is this the turnaround? They're in a 2-game winning streak. They have a QB that's improving. They're clearly building an offense around them. I think they're in great position to assert themselves over the next couple of weeks, especially with the Calgary Stampeders. So I don't know. Possibly. Is this a turnaround? I don't know.
Yeah, it may be too little, too late to make the playoffs or anything like that, but it's good to see, and it'll only help for next year, right?
It's never too little, too late in the CFL.
Yeah, I guess so.
Lots of time.
I said it may be. It may be. True. Just like for this other team, Hamilton, right? Slow start, but they're in third place in the East. So big win against Toronto last week, sorry, not against Toronto, against BC. Speaking of Toronto, can they build off that last week's win against Toronto and win another one? They're only 1-4 at home. This game is at home. D is going to need to be good for them to have a chance in this game because that Toronto offense has been purring.
No kidding.
So, I don't know. It's hard to say. If is BC coming back down to earth, and this is the type of team they are, and they're not, in the upper echelon kind of thing. We'll see with Hamilton. If they can beat Toronto, then hey, it opens the door for them, and maybe guys are jumping back on the bandwagon after that.
So many teams in the playoff bubble. Like, people want to complain about the parity, but like 5 out of the 8 teams are in the playoff bubble.
Yeah, just makes it interesting. I know they say you look at the league and go, teams 2 and 9, and they have a chance of making the playoffs, right? But
yes,
makes it more fun. Every team has a chance.
And who's going to show up at the stadium for a 2 and 9 team that can't make the playoffs?
No. NFL, if you're 2 and 9, you're done, basically, right? Even if you're 2 and 6, you're probably done. So,
for sure, for sure. Calgary Stampeders. Oh, speaking of turnarounds, is there anything that this team can do to turn their season around? It's hard to say that. Denny Green, they are who we thought they were. Since the beginning of the year, they've lost some veteran presence. There's no identity to this team. I don't know if they can turn it around, but I think that's what they're looking at right now, especially playing with Edmonton these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, no team's out. If they win this game, they're still possibly, and Saskatchewan loses, they're only 1 game behind there, or they're possibly tied with Hamilton for the crossover spot, right?
Yeah.
These 2 games against Edmonton will be huge, and it'll determine a lot. If they lose this game, I don't want to say their chances are over, but obviously their chances take a big hit. So,
yeah, they're slim.
Toronto, with all their buys done already, which to me is crazy, can they weather the next 9 weeks of the regular season and keep the injuries at bay? We saw last week they were getting hit. And they've had a ton of buys, so their guys should be fresh. But even that last week, they were losing guys to injury, and now you got to last a whole other 9 weeks plus playoffs. With all these guys on the injured list. So it'll be an interesting time for Toronto. I know Labor Days, again, like Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, Toronto and Hamilton could go either way, just because that's the mystique of the Labor Day games.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do over the next 9 weeks.
The sooner Toronto can wrap up first place, the better for them.
Yeah, well, a win here, like the Bombers win against Saskatchewan, they've clinched a playoff spot, right? Toronto have to be pretty close on that as well. Right, because
for sure.
Well, I guess Saskatchewan still, Hamilton would only have 4 wins after this. So, it's got to be close to
ahead.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, can they stop the Labor Day streak? The Bombers have never won more than 3 in a row at Labor Day, so there's room there. So I don't know. It's like you said. Either team can be 0-11, and it's still going to be who knows who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. They're always close, and they're always tough, right? So
not always close.
Sorry, sometimes they get blown out the other way. Obviously, the Bombers get blown out in these ones, but for the most part, they're close, even if Saskatchewan has a bad team. So
yeah, man.
We've seen some blowouts. Rocky Butler.
Why
Ottawa.
again?
Ottawa. They're on a bye week. Doesn't sound like anything is changing on their coaching staff. No moves, nothing happening there. Can Bobby Dice figure out how to stop the bleeding? They got a tough schedule at the end. I mean, they got Hamilton next, so there's their chance. But after that, it gets pretty tough with games against Toronto, Montreal, BC, all that. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to stand that bleeding this year. Hopefully, he ends up getting another shot next year to bring in some more guys and get a better team out there. But it's gonna be tough for him.
It's tough being a Rough Rider fan. All that success at the beginning, and now
Yeah,
what?
yeah. I
Oh,
mean, they won a Grey Cup, quicker than the Bombers did, like kind of did with their drought, right? And you're thinking, oh crap, how the heck did they do this? But now, yeah, they're in quite the turmoil over the last 5 years at least.
yeah, they couldn't continue that. They didn't draft. That's a different episode. Winnipeg Blue Bombers talking about Labor Day streaks. Ken Caleros keep his undefeated Labor Day streak going. He's 3-0. He's 6-0 as a quarterback on Labor Day. 3-0 with Hamilton, 1-0 with Saskatchewan, 2-0 with the Bombers.
Oh,
It'll
right
be
on.
tough. It'll be tough. But hey, the odds, I guess, are on his side.
Yeah, for sure,
That's pretty
man.
good.
He's played well at Mosaic and he's played well against Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he loves it there. He loves it there. Let's have a good game. CFL Bomber fans, put your comments below on critical questions, your thoughts on Labor Day. Give us your thoughts and memories of your times at Labor Day games. We have a great picture posted on Ray Benny Sports across social media. Check that out. Give us a comment, share a picture of your Labor Day fun. Quick and dirty predictions. Let's start with BC at Montreal. Who you got?
I'm going to take BC. Just because Montreal's pass rush hasn't been the greatest, and that where it works in Vernon Adams' favor to find his receivers all over the field. So if they can protect the ball, and Montreal need to get their running game if they want to have a chance game. James Butler torched the Lions last week. If they can get Stanback or Fletcher going in this game, they have a chance. But right now, I'm taking BC.
I'm taking Montreal at home because I think they will get the running game going. I think those stupid air horns are going to get to BC, and I think they will get the pass rush going. And I think they'll get the pass rush like they get against Caleros. They'll cause some havoc, and BC, the condition that they're in right now, won't be able to come back from that like the Bombers did. So I'm going to take Montreal at home. Let's go with Labor Day right away. Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. Well, I guess they're all Labor Day, but this one we're talking about as Bomber fans. Winnipeg at Saskatchewan. I'm going to take the Bombers. They're feeling it 5 in a row. Saskatchewan, they're kind of feeling it with Dola Gala having a good game with 300 yards, but that's not enough against a veteran team against Bombers on Labor Day in Zach Claros.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's feeling it. The fans are feeling it. The media in Saskatchewan's feeling it. They're probably thinking there is going to be an upset here. I'm going to pick the Bombers as well. But like we say, anything can happen in this Labor Day game. But right now, to me, the Bombers are still the better team, so they should win this game.
Yes, Toronto, Hamilton. Who are you taking in this game?
I got to take the Argos. I just think that offense is just playing way too good right now. And like we said, Hamilton has not been good at home. Toronto's already beat them twice. So I expect that Toronto offense to keep rolling.
Like you say, anything can happen on Labor Day. So I'm going to take the Hamilton Tiger Cats to win at home. I like what Scott Milanovich is doing with Hamilton, and Toronto's defense is playing horribly.
Oh, yeah.
I think you just need a couple plays to turn it around. And I think with Hamilton being at home on Labor Day, it's just that kind of environment that kind of stuff I almost swore can happen. So I'm taking the Ticats at home. I'm liking these predictions. Edmonton and Calgary. Who do you got in this?
I'm going to take Calgary. I have a feeling you're taking Edmonton. I'm going to take. I know the Elks have been playing better probably than Calgary. Calgary had a good week last week against Toronto for the most part, just couldn't get the job done. But I think them being at home and in Labor Day, they'll take this one.
I do have the Elks in this one. They are feeling it. Emotionally, they are, they're probably feeling it the best out of any team other than the 5-win-in-a-row Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Calgary is not feeling it. I think Calgary will come out slow. And the more confidence that kid gets, he's so mobile. That's the thing. If he's in trouble, he can run. And that's going to be an issue for Calgary. So I got the Elks in this one. Fans,
Right
put
on.
your predictions in the comment section. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends, our Labor Day friends, CFL football friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow. Don't forget, subscribe on YouTube for the jersey, which we're giving away in a week. So before the Banjo Bowl, and enjoy the Labor Day games and have a good weekend.
It'd be sweet if you had a ticket to the Banjo Bowl and you can meet me there and I can give you the jersey.
Yeah.
But hey, if you win anywhere, I'll meet you in Winnipeg. That's going to screw me. And in the famous words of Mario Andretti, if you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough. Cut. Hey man, do you think the CFL should like alternate sites on Labor Day and its following matchup? I know we're Bonner fans, it's hard, but you know, with Banjo Bowl set, do you think they should alternate it?
I think they should a long time ago rotated where that game was on Labor Day Sunday or weekend, and then the next always have the back-to-back, but rotate them. You know, one year it's in Winnipeg, one year it's in Saskatchewan for Labor Day, and then Banjo Bowl switches around kind of thing. But I do like that it is at least back-to-back, and then it's they do get their revenge factor the week after. So, but yeah, I think they should have done it.
I'm a traditionalist. I like them staying where they are.
I wouldn't change it now. I wouldn't change it now, but they should have done it a long time ago where they were kind of rotating. Because there was times where was there always a back-to-back with Saskatchewan?
Yes, there was, and then it stopped for a while when the American expansion and all that ruined that, and we didn't get the back-to-back. Like, I think the matchups, maybe if they get a 10th team, they do BC Hamilton, Halifax, and they got to do Montreal Ottawa. That is the rivalry. They got to do that, and the new ones, I feel they could switch. But Hamilton, Toronto, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Calgary, I think they should stay where they are.
Yeah, it's interesting that they wouldn't have Montreal and Ottawa play on this one and let BC have a bye this week if you don't have an opponent for them, right?
Yes, I think they should always do that. It has to be Montreal, Ottawa. They're right there.
Same division, they're right there. Exactly. That's what you're trying to build, that rivalry, so it gets bigger and bigger and better every year, right?
Absolutely. Makes no sense that BC and Montreal are...
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.